time-honoured apples was planted 200 years ago in a back garden in Nottinghamshire. Its clones have generated a £50 million industry.
The Bramley apple tree was grown from a pip by a young lady, Mary Ann Brailsford, between 1809 and 1815. It was thought it came from an apple grown on a tree at the bottom of her garden. One seedling produced very fine apples in 1837 when the new occupier was Mr. Matthew Bramley. Fantastic. Hi, how are you?
What a lovely day.
Well, you know, I've seen better days for looking at apple trees.
The Bramley tree's proud custodian is 90-year-old Nancy Harrison. So you were born in this house, and
The tree was in the next
the tree was in the next door neighbour's garden.
Yes.
So you bought the house next door.
That's right.
To get the tree.
Yes, I paid £500 for it.
It's a garden typical of the cottages of this period. Long and narrow. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? It's like walking into an enchanted woodland. And you can see where the original has fallen. The original was planted here and has obviously been blown. And a piece would originally have been up here. I would have branched away. You hear people talking about living history, and this really is living history. It's like standing next to a cathedral. This is a cathedral of horticulture.
And from an historical apple tree, we move on to an extraordinary modern one, joining Alice Fowler as she finds out about the incredible results you can get with grafting and cloning.
I was amazed when I discovered that nurseryman Paul Barnett has managed to grow over 250 varieties on just one tree. I was eager to find out how he'd done it.
This tree is the stuff of dreams. It's the most wonderful thing I have seen in a long time.
That's looking particularly good this year.
And what possesses you to bud 250 different varieties onto a single tree?
The nursery I used to work for had about 80 or 90 different varieties, and they would be lined out in quite a large field. So, not having a large field, I needed to condense it down into something smaller. So that's really why they were put on here.
It's fantastic. So each branch is a different variety, right?
Yes, it is. Yeah, you got Royal Gala here. You got Crown Gold up here.
And therefore it could be possible to have a tree which had cookers and eaters.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Ah, it's very clever. What I get quite excited about this is, if you had a tree you didn't like, you have potential to have a tree that you could...
Just bud or grafted over,
yes.
yeah.
So,
For any varieties that you like eating onto it.
so you no longer have to get stuck with just kind of a cooker.
Exactly. Have a lot.
It's amazing. I am completely in awe of it.
Paul has worked with apple trees for 25 years and was happy to give me a lesson in apple budding. The small orchard at the bottom of his garden was a perfect place to have a go, but first I had to choose which varieties I wanted to grow.
This is a lovely looking apple. Which is this one?
This is a variety called Fiesta. It's a lovely apple, crisp, juicy and sweet.
Can I try it?
Yes, you can, yeah.
Really crisp.
Shows quite a good resistant to pest and disease. Quite an easy one for gardeners.
Yeah, lovely.
Very fertile variety.
Lovely looking apples as well.
It is, yeah.
Really
What do you
pretty.
expect from an apple, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Well, can I have one of these then?
You can.
This is great. It's like being in a supermarket. I can see one of my all-time favourite apples here. Now,
Good old Pitmaster pineapple.
oh, I have such fond memories of eating way too many of these at Wisley.
It's a lovely little heritage variety.
It's beautiful. It's a very late one, isn't
It
it?
is, yeah. Never gets much bigger than this either.
No. Anything for
Be a good
memory.
one for your tree. You get the red of the Fiesta and also the yellow of the Pitmaster pineapple.
It's a perfect kind of one-person quick eat. That's
It
what
is,
I like
yeah.
about this.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Next, it was time to learn the magic of budding. First, Paul selected and cut off a healthy shoot from one of my chosen varieties and stripped it of all its leaves.
So, material.
Yep.
And this is my tree. Is it a good tree?
It's a good tree, yeah. You've got some nice young, vigorous growth here. It's ideal. You're looking for sort of 2 or 3 nice strong shoots, which we've got here.
And sort of about this thickness.
About this thickness, yeah.
So that's kind of the thickness of a pencil.
Next, he prepared the area on my tree where the bud would go. After clearing the leaves and the shoots, he made a 4 centimetre long cut with a clean, sharp knife, deep enough to expose the cambium layer, the green bit below the bark. Then Paul cut a slither of the same length from the donor branch. This contained the bud of the apple I wanted to grow on my tree. The bud was then placed into position, making sure it matched exactly. To keep it in place, it was tightly wrapped using budding tape, but a clear plastic bag secured with tape would have done the job just as well.
Well, you made that look incredibly easy, but I know that practice is how you get good at these things, and it's a long time. So,
it started well when I made the incision on the mother plant. Cutting the bud was another matter, however, but in the end it seemed to fit, well, almost perfectly. It would be a nail-biting 6 weeks to see if my graft had taken.